Hello students, today we will start with pollination. Now what is pollination? Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of a flower. Now it can be transferred on the stigma of the same flower or on another flower of the same plant, or it can be on another flower of a different plant, but plants have to be of the same species. So we have discussed three things: that pollination is transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of same flower or of another flower on the same plant or on another flower on a different plant. But in all cases, the plants have to be of the same species. This is very important. Now, specific terms are used for this. This is in general the definition of pollination. But when the transfer of pollen grains is from anther to stigma of the same flower, we use a term called autogamy for it. And when the transfer is from the anther to stigma of another flower, but on the same plant, we use the term geitonogamy for it. And when the transfer of pollen grains is from anther to stigma of another flower on a different plant, we use the term xenogamy, or alternative term for it is allogamy. So you have to remember these terms. Autogamy is transfer of pollen from anther to stigma of the same flower. Geitonogamy is transfer of pollen from anther to stigma of another flower on the same plant. And xenogamy or allogamy is transfer of pollen from anther to stigma of another flower on another plant, on a different plant. But all the plants have to be of the same species. Now the first two kinds, autogamy and geitonogamy, are called self-pollination. And xenogamy or allogamy is cross-pollination. Now to make it further, to make this clear, I am just giving you an example. Suppose this is plant 1 and this is plant 2 of another species. This is plant 1. This bears flowers. This is the stigma, anther. These are the petals and these are the sepals. And suppose this is another flower, sepals, petals, ovary, style, stigma, anther. Now if the pollens are transferred from anther to stigma in the same flower, it is autogamy. If the pollen are transferred from anther to stigma of another flower on the same plant, it is geitonogamy. And this is plant 2. This is sepal, petal, ovary, style, stigma, anther. If the anther transfers pollen from this flower to this flower on another plant. This is cross-pollination. Autogamy and geitonogamy are examples of self-pollination. This is cross-pollination or allogamy. So this is about pollination. Now we will be moving to each kind of pollination in detail. First we will talk about self-pollination. Self-pollination, as we have discussed, means transfer is taking place in the same plant. Now, conditions for self-pollination. If the transfer is taking place, transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma in the same plant, this means the flowers of that plant should be bisexual, should be containing both male and female parts, that is androecium and gynoecium. Both androecium and gynoecium should be present. Then second important character is in self-pollination is that both stamens and carpels, or let us say the stigma, should mature at the same time. Then only it will be receptive to receive at the same time. Then only the stigma of the carpel will be receptive to receive the pollen grain, and then only the pollen grains will be able to germinate. Otherwise, if the stigma is not ready to receive the pollen grains, the germination will not take place. So pollination is not going to be successful. Now, for this, if we see the examples, it happens in rice, it happens in wheat, it happens in pea plants. Some examples I am giving you. But in this case, if both of them are maturing at the same time, then there are chances of geitonogamy also. There are chances of cross-pollination also. If the stigma and anther are maturing at the same time and they are exposed. So there is a condition. If they are maturing and if they are exposed, then surety of autogamy is not there. Autogamy will take place, but in addition to autogamy, geitonogamy and allogamy can also take place. So in that case, in certain flowers, like in pansy and in oxalis, common name of oxalis is wood sorrel, and common name of and botanical name of pansy is viola. So in these flowers, there are two kinds of flowers. One kind of flowers are called chasmogamous flowers. Chasmogamous flowers means these flowers open and androecium, that is stamens, and gynoecium mature at the same time. So autogamy will take place, but chances of geitonogamy and allogamy cannot be ruled out. But the second kind of flowers that are found in these plants are called cleistogamous flowers. Cleistogamous flowers do not open at all. They don't open. They mature while the petals are closed. They are sort of bud stage. But inside the male and the female parts mature. The stigma becomes receptive to receive the pollen grains. And so only autogamy will occur in such flowers. The only option is autogamy because the flowers are not opening and they are not being exposed to the anther of any other flower. So this is self-pollination. Now self-pollination has a few advantages and it also has a few disadvantages. So we will first discuss the advantages of self-pollination. Merits of self-pollination. First and foremost, self-pollination leads to pure species. There is purity of species due to self-pollination because no mixing is taking place. Mixing of characters is not taking place. Since it is happening in the same flower, pollination is taking place in the same flower or on two flowers of the same plant. So there is no mixing of characters that is taking place and the result is a pure species. There is purity of species. Second, since it is happening in the same flower, there is no wastage of pollen. Pollen is not being wasted. This method, because pollination is taking place in the same flower, so we can say it leads to self-fertilization, and self-fertilization is more reliable. More reliable. It is sure to occur. It is sure to occur because the stigma is receptive to receive the pollen grains. So germination will take place, germination of the pollen grains and leading to the fusion of the male and the female gamete. No external source is needed. No external agency is needed for it. No external agency is needed. So these are the advantages of self-pollination. Now coming to disadvantages of self-pollination. Since self-pollination is occurring generation after generation, so there is loss of vigor in the offspring. Generation after generation, the same pollen, same characters are being transferred to the stigma. So same characters are passed on from generation to generation. There is loss of vigor. And because of this, no new characters are there as there is no genetic recombination. No combining of different characteristics is taking place. As a result, there is no genetic recombination. So these are the disadvantages of self-pollination and we have discussed the advantages of self-pollination. Now we come to cross-pollination. What is cross-pollination? I have already told you. When pollen grains are transferred from anther to stigma of another flower on another plant, we use the term cross-pollination and it is also called xenogamy or allogamy, as I have already told you. This means that the flower has to have some kind of modifications, some kind of adaptations, because of which pollen, if self-pollination is taking place, pollen of the same flower is falling on the stigma of that, it does not germinate. And then only cross-pollination is possible. So the flower undergoes a few adaptations. We call them contrivances or adaptations that favor cross-pollination, because of which cross-pollination becomes easy. So one by one we will be discussing them. First is sterility. We also call it self-incompatibility, which means that if the pollen of the same flower falls on the stigma of that flower, it will not germinate. It will remain sterile. It is not compatible. Incompatible means it is not compatible, and further germination followed by fertilization will not occur. So this is one way how cross-pollination takes place. Second, let us say, is maturity time of the anther to shed the pollen and for the stigma to become receptive are different. We call it dichogamy. That is, time of maturity is different of male and the female parts. Time of maturity of male, that is the pollen, and female, that is the stigma, are different. Now in this case, if stigma, let us say, if stigma becomes receptive before the pollen are shed from the anther, this becomes receptive before pollen are shed from the anther, we call the condition as protogyny. Proto means first. Gyne comes from gynoecium. Gynoecium matures first. So, that is one condition. And if the anther mature first to produce the pollen grains before the stigma is receptive, we use the term protandry. Proto means first, andry is androecium. That is, androecium is becoming mature before the stigma. So this is dichogamy. So these are two conditions. Now we move to the next condition. Third condition. Third condition is hercogamy. Hercogamy means that there is some kind of a barrier, a mechanical barrier. Some kind of a barrier, mechanical barrier, which will not allow the pollen to reach the stigma of the same flower. That is, it will not allow self-pollination to occur. When I say mechanical barrier, means the stigma and the anther are away from each other. It can be in the form of a hood. Suppose this is the stigma and a hood is formed over the stigma so that the anther cannot release the pollen and it will not reach the stigma. The hood will not allow the contact of the pollen with the stigma. Or the other way is that the style is very long. Style is very long and stigma is placed at a very higher level, like this in a flower. Suppose this is a flower, like this in a flower, the distance is great. Or there is a hood over the stigma so that the pollen does not reach the stigma. This condition is called hercogamy. The next contrivances or next adaptation that can be seen in a flower is called heterostyle. Style means the style is of different lengths. Hetero is different, style word comes from style, the slender part of the carpel. So, in certain species of plants, the flowers are dimorphic, like in primula. Primula is the name of the plant where we see dimorphic flowers. That is, two kinds of flowers are present. And in one kind of flower, the style is much longer than the stigma. Suppose this is the flower. This is one kind of flower. In the second kind of flower, the style is much shorter and the anther is much longer. Suppose this is the corolla. So this is heterostyly. Two different lengths, two different kinds of flowers are found and the lengths of the styles are different in this. Then the next kind of adaptation which we can see in some flowers is unisexuality. That is, male and female flowers are separate. Male and female flowers, that is male flowers which we call as staminate flowers, and the plant possesses female flowers which are called pistillate flowers. So male and female flowers are separate. If they are present on the same plant, as we say monoecious, like we see in maize. In maize we see that the male flowers are present in clusters at the apex or at the terminal end of the plant, and the female flowers are present lower. So in these autogamy is not possible, but geitonogamy is possible and cross-pollination generally occurs. Geitonogamy, that is transfer of pollen from anther to stigma of the same plant, cannot be overruled, but autogamy is not possible. Then this is in case of monoecious plants where they are on the same plant. They are on the same plant. If male and female flowers, staminate and pistillate flowers, are found on different plants, as we see in the dioecious species, like in papaya, in palm, cross-pollination is the only possibility that will take place because the two plants are different. So these are some of the adaptations that we see in flowers to favor cross-pollination. Now, we are talking of movement of pollen grain from anther to stigma of another flower on another plant. So for that, some kind of agency is needed. It will not happen on its own. Some kind of agency is needed for this transfer. Now the agency can be, let us say, abiotic in nature, which means non-living, like we say water, or even wind can carry the pollen grains. The other way, second method, is the agency can be biotic. That means it can be living. Pollen grain can be carried by living things. Like, let us say, insects can carry the pollen, birds can carry the pollen, bats can carry the pollen, sometimes even snails and slugs carry pollen. So, in each of these cases, we give a specific name to the kind of cross-pollination that is taking place. Pollination through the agency of water is called hydrophily. By the agency of wind is called anemophily. By the agency of insects is called entomophily. By birds it is called ornithophily. By the agency of bats it is called chiropterophily. Chiropterophily. If snails and slugs are doing it, we call it malacophily. And if human beings or man is doing it, we call it artificially. Something that is not happening in nature and man is playing a role in it, we call it artificial pollination. So this is how pollen are transferred from anther to stigma of another flower on another plant of the same species by different kinds of agencies. We will be going into details of these kinds of pollination one by one. But before I start this, we will discuss the advantages and disadvantages of cross-pollination. Coming to advantages of cross-pollination. As we have seen that the pollen grains from the anther are being transferred from one flower to another flower on a different plant. There is mixing of characters that is taking place. Mixing of characters. So we see that there are new characters that emerge because of this. New characters emerge. So we see that there is genetic recombination. And by this, for economically important plants, characters like high yielding varieties, disease resistance, these characters can be introduced into the economically important plants by means of cross-pollination. Lot of work is being done on this. Artificial pollination. Varieties are chosen and characters are mixed. So we get a new variety with different characters. So these are advantages of cross-pollination. Now coming to disadvantages. This needs an agency to carry. So if external agency is not available, pollination will not occur. So because they need an external agency, surety is not there. It may occur, it may not occur. The pollen that are produced, if they do not reach the stigma of another flower, when they are mature, they are being wasted. So there is lot of wastage of pollen grain. Wastage of pollen grain because the pollen do not reach the stigma at the right time. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of cross-pollination. Now the different kinds of pollination, pollination by wind, by water, by insects, birds, bats, all this we will discuss in the next class. So good luck till then. Stay safe, stay healthy.